Hello, everybody. I was just reading through some of the comments again, and thanks to everybody who's commenting and watching and liking and sharing. It's really cool to hear everybody else's stories. I'm glad that the stuff I was talking about resonated with people. The general thing is we're all kind of on the same boat, wanting to do art, wanting to kind of expand our learning journey, etc. Let me move my mouse. And one thing that was somebody else was talking about how they thought was similar to what they went through, in that I didn't think that we could, or anybody could, make a decent career out of doing art. And somebody else had mentioned that they were in that same boat before they actually started pursuing it. I'm like, yeah, that's totally cool. And it's kind of a problem that there's this kind of a consensus when we're growing up that art or drawing or creative things like music, design, all these things don't have any merit for future, where instead, especially in my culture, being Middle Eastern, is that you should strive to be a doctor or an engineer or an architect, at least a lawyer. All these, kind of jobs that I see to be nightmarish unless you really have a passion for those things, and you become a slave to whatever those things are. Because for example, my dad's a doctor, and he loves medicine. He loves the physical understanding of the human body, how to prevent sickness, disease, how to cure things, diabetes. He has a passion for that. What he doesn't have a passion for is the business side of it. And so growing up, he told us to not go into medicine, even though my sister is. But he's like, it's not. It's become a business more than it is a respectable position that it once was in terms of making a difference in people's lives, because now it's about making money, more or less. But I digress. I don't want to talk about that, more so about art, in that it does have merit. You can get somewhere with art. And if you are familiar with history, artists used to, before the camera, before the stuff, people would commission and become patrons for artists and literally throw money at them for, a lot of money, and so that the artist can kind of be comfortable in their zone and make all this art. And it died out, but it's coming back. There's a site called Patreon, and I haven't started a Patreon account yet, but I do plan to. And what it is, it's basically, anybody, you, me, any artist can, or musician or whatever, can start this. And it's like an ongoing Kickstarter where people pledge, I don't know, $1, $2, maybe $20 a month, and literally become your patron. And there are some people on there who are making plenty of dough just doing their own thing. And so you don't even have to work at a studio to be successful as an artist. Basically, if you have the drive and the desire to be creative and make stuff and connect with people and have your artwork resonate with them emotionally, you can cultivate that and use that to your advantage, and certainly make a living off of it. The world isn't what it used to be, where you have to have a 9-to-5 job, and you have to pretty much drone on. And like there's actually a really good quote. I don't know who said it, but actually it was in terms of being a good art director, in that you can, if you're an art director, you have to know how to connect with people and let the artist be creative in their zone. But if you don't, then the artists are just like, they're like couch movers. You're literally telling them to move a couch here or there, and the artists are just like, okay, where do you want the couch? I literally don't care. So there are positions in studios as an artist where you are a couch mover, and what I mean by that is you're just being told what to do. But now with things like Patreon, in certain studios, they let you be creative in your own way, and that creativity is harnessed, and there's a beautiful product on the other side of it. And I guess I'm super lucky that I get to do that where I work over at ArenaNet, and I'm a character / concept / web prop design person. I'm kind of all over the place, and I get to just explore and find the best way to communicate the ideas visually. And at first it was pretty difficult transitioning into that mindset, because before, especially coming out of school where we were kind of told what to do and we had a deadline, this and that, the idea where they let you be your own self and creative was totally new to me. So that was pretty awesome once I realized it. But yeah. Another thing that's pretty cool that I saw in the comments is Marius Munir. He's like, you have followers in France now. Keep doing your awesome job. That's so cool to think that what I'm saying. I mean, like, I kind of had this idea that anything you put on the internet goes all over the world. You know, your art, your drawings, your paintings, your podcast, your voice. But to kind of get acknowledged that there's somebody on the other side of not the other side, Europe, of the world, that they're like, hey, cheers. Like, that's pretty cool. Awesome. And there are other people that were commenting about how they spent so much time doing art, but they fell out of it, and hearing this podcast kind of made them want to go back into drawing. That is so cool. That's kind of what this is all about. It's about letting whatever it is that I'm doing become some kind of energy, whatever creative, and then transferring it to everybody else, and letting other people kind of share this movement of wanting to do art, wanting to draw, wanting to be creative, wanting to design, build worlds, fantasy, sci-fi, whatever, characters. If you want to do paintings of flowers, like, go for it. There's nothing stopping you. And there's this mindset where, I mean, if you're like in an artist block or a writer's block, and the mindset is that you're kind of waiting around for somebody to kind of give you permission to do creative things, or permission to start an absurdly big, awesome project. Well, I mean, the obvious thing is you don't need anyone's permission. You don't need anyone's validation to get going. And if you do need that, guess what? I'm giving you that permission. Do it. Go for it. You are now allowed to do whatever you want, as huge of a project as you want to do. Go for it, even if it's a small project. I don't know you, but I believe in you. The reason I believe in you is because you're a human being just like me. I'm no different. And I started things, and I'm going places and making art. And because I know I can do it, I know for a fact that you can as well, whoever you are, wherever you are listening to this. And I hope you make stuff. So in other news, I got The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, because I actually was let's make this about video games for a bit. I was watching videos of it and kind of complaining about how boring it looks, and because most games today just look the same. They're like all with the same lighting, the same design language, and it looks like another Skyrim or whatever those games are. And I personally don't have the willpower to commit more than 12 hours to a game. I like my games linear, short, to the point. And so when I was like seeing this, it looked like a huge commitment, and with all the side quests and all the crafting and alchemy, I don't have time for that. I'd rather draw. Nonetheless, I got the game anyway because I wanted to give it a chance. And it's actually not too bad, but there are, moments where I'm just like, I don't have time to learn what all this crafting stuff is. I don't want to sit there and memorize all these little icons of the different herbs and the plants that I'm supposed to collect. Like, I don't care. Let me enjoy a video game. But I do know that there's a demographic for that. There's people that want to sit there and memorize and know the ins and outs of everything about this world that was built. Me personally, I'd rather build my own world. And I guess that's the difference, because I get to do that. I get to design things. I get to make worlds and characters. And that's why, like, when I see character creation in a game where you can edit the armor, the hair, and all that stuff, people love it. I don't. Not when it's in a game, because I'm like, well, yeah, it's sort of fun and stuff, but when you actually get into a game, for example, an MMO or something, it doesn't. Nobody actually sits there and looks at who you are. They're all focusing on how they look, and so, like, you spend all this time and making your stuff, but at the same time, I get it, because there's some creative process happening where you get to make choices of how your character looks, the colors, the costume, but the thing is, that's my job. That's what I do as an artist. So I enjoy it in that sense. I guess if I wasn't an artist and that was in a game, like, I would probably enjoy it more. I don't know where I'm going with that, but basically, if you're watching the video, I'm painting a character from The Witcher 3, and it's a pretty good game so far. There are a lot of fun aspects of it. There's parts where you can use magic or whatever, the arcane stuff. You can use the Witcher sense and hunt things down, be a detective. It's pretty cool, but it's already huge. It's a big game, and I don't have time to do all these little side quests and talk to everybody and answer questions. The difference between this and the super fast kind of like quick gratification I get from, I don't know, Smash Brothers or Mario Kart 8 or even Legend of Zelda is more to the point and linear than something like this. I just would rather go outside and have fun. There's like this whole fantasy world that has been built, and people love that, and I do too. But and it's great because there's a novelty to it. It's like somebody else's vision and creative world that you can go and explore. But at the same time, we have our own world, our own Earth, our own outside that we have yet to explore. And I know most of you listening to this have not, really explored the area that you live in, because you're probably lazy like me. But, lately I've been going out, just like running around and looking at places, looking at real plants. I was like looking up plant reference, and I was thinking, why don't I just go outside and see how light actually acts on a leaf, how it has that shiny reflection, but underneath there's subsurface scattering. Why would I look at a photo when I could go outside and see how it really is, So going back to The Witcher, cool. I'm willing to give it a shot. I want to play the whole thing through and see how it goes. I also had Bloodborne. I was playing that for a bit, but the problem was there was too much time in between playing it and not playing it that when I picked it up again, I kind of forgot the mechanics, and I keep dying, and I'm just like, okay, I'll come back to it later and get good. But right now, I would rather draw. So that's the dilemma of being an artist and working in the video game industry and stuff. So talking about the style that's in Witcher and all these games, I was, I know I mentioned this before, but I'm not really impressed anymore by realistic graphics. At this point, I'm like, okay, I don't care anymore. I've seen it so much that it lost its novelty. So that's why I'm more drawn to stylized things. And I think there are several games now coming out in development that really have my eye, and that is games like Overwatch and Gigantic by Motiga. So Overwatch is Blizzard and Gigantic is Motiga. So what's amazing about those visuals is that you can tell that there's an artist's hand that's designing every shape and choosing the colors and, you know, making those choices. Whereas something like Witcher, while it's beautifully rendered and all that stuff, and I know there's a costume designer making those things happen and all the lighting and environment effects, but it's just referencing reality. And to me, reality, if I want to enjoy reality, I go outside and I look at reality. I don't care for simulating it. You know, if I want to play a video game, I want it to be somebody else's vision, not just something emulating what I already see. Yeah. So, but if there was like an MMO or a big world that was stylized, like in the style of Motiga's game, Gigantic, or Overwatch, or that colorful, illustrative look, like so it looks like an actual piece of art versus a photoreal rendering, I think I'd be more interested in playing it. Like I'm thinking back to like Mario RPG, which is an awesome game. Visually, it's beautiful because it still holds up today to me because it's artwork. It's like playing artwork. So if there was like a huge game that looked like that, I would definitely lean more towards wanting to spend more time exploring and really having fun with it. Oh, another cool thing that was totally threw me off. In my first video, I mentioned how I was really inspired by this one artist who I came across on DeviantArt, Jeffrey Cruz, aka Chamba, and he I guess he saw my stuff on Instagram or something. I don't know, but he mentioned me on his podcast. I'm like, oh, cool. What an awesome guy. So if you haven't seen his work, please check it out. I'll put a link in the description. That's Chamba at DeviantArt. Really cool stuff. Of course, I find it so attractive because it's stylized. There's an artist's hand behind all the shape design and the coloring and the expression. It's not just, you know, doing a photoreal photo study. Like, those are just so boring. Yeah, going back to Patreon and Gumroad and all that stuff, what I do want to do for you guys is I have a bunch of things I want to teach. So things I want to go over is how to draw faces, anatomy, how to color things, and you know, there's always the question of how do you come up with a style. So these are things that I want to go over and kind of highlight how to approach things. So things like composition, line work, values. You know, there's a whole bunch of things that are overlooked in terms of value composition, graphic design within your composition. So all these things are necessary to understand, really make or break your painting or your illustration or your drawing. So that'll be coming up soon, and I'll definitely let you guys know about the Patreon and the Gumroad stuff. And I was thinking about doing some kind of free previews, and maybe I was also thinking of doing like little short videos so that, you know, I can do a whole bunch of them. But in the end, I want to do full-on lessons so that people can reference them and go back to them. And the thing is, like, when I teach stuff, I'm pretty thorough, and I don't just like give a laundry list of things to do and a fact, you know, like a list of facts that you should know. No, because I'm there as the learner too, and what I mean by that is, if I'm going over something, I'm also putting myself in the shoes of the viewer. So if it's complicated or not easy to understand from somebody who doesn't have experience, I make it easy. You know, I'll simplify things down so that it's not I'm not going to use super complex terms and make you confused and all that jazz. Oh, cool. I just got another comment. It's from Knox Mooney. I'm so happy I decided to make a again, so happy to see it. Yeah, that's awesome. I love getting feedback like this. I'll reply to that person later. But yeah, it's been a rough week, really quick weekend. I'm kind of just letting this flow as I'm speaking, and I do have like a list of things, and I'm checking things off about what I want to say, but like I'll get through them so quickly that I'm like, now what? So let's talk about fan art for a second, and the not really controversy around it, but the fact that there are so many artists doing fan art, and going to Art Center and being around a lot of artists, there's this whole like, oh, he does fan art or she does fan art kind of mentality, as if doing art of characters that you love is a bad thing. And because of that, I've heard that so much that I've avoided doing fan art, and which is so silly. Like, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. And so, if you're seeing the video, it's of Ciri from Witcher 3. I'm not necessarily a fan of her just yet because I haven't seen her in the game. But hey, I think she looks cool. So that's enough for me to want to do a drawing of her. So, and people are like, well, it's not original. You're not being original. Well, who cares? There are so many famous quotes of artists that are talking about, great artists steal, but I forgot the quote. But basically, there's a lot of energy that's happening in stuff you love, and to transfer that into your own work is not a bad thing. It's not cheating. It's not taking a shortcut. You're just doing art. And the thing is, if you see certain Patreons and people that are really successful, they don't have any original artwork or designs. Some, but most of their stuff is other characters from different shows and different games, and because people can resonate with that because they already love that character, of course they'll be successful. So I'm finally just letting myself break that dumb mindset of not doing concept art for fan art, because the whole idea of, oh, it's not original is so whatever at this point, because I grew up drawing Batman and Power Rangers. Like, why stop? I do want to do original stuff, and I still do, and I am, but I'm allowing myself to take a break and just kind of delve into what I find interesting. Like, the fear before was like somebody's going to stand up and call me out and say, well, you didn't design that, you don't deserve any credit for this and that, I want to sue you. Like, whatever. No, that never happens to anyone, and it never will. So I'm kind of curious, how do you guys feel about fan art? Like, what do you, like, if you had all the skills in the world, yada yada, like, who would you draw? And like, would you do like cooler versions or of characters that you love, like design your own costumes for things? Although there is one thing that I find ridiculous, and that's the whole gender bending shenanigans. Come on. I mean, cool, but whatever. I don't think I'd ever want to do that. Like, if I did like a female Mega Man, I don't know, dude. But yeah, so we'll leave it at that, and let me know what you think about fan art. I'm curious. All right, Ahmed out. I'll see you guys next week.